Melbourne City's women's side have had a season to remember in the A-League. Undefeated after 23 games and a shot at the double. And in May, they have an opportunity at another slice of history in the AFC Women's Champions League. The Continental tournament's in its first year, following the old club championship. Sydney FC took part in the 2023 edition, winning 2 from 3 group games, but missing out on a final spot to Incheon Red Angels. Melbourne City booked their spot in the Champions League after winning the 23-24 A-League Women's regular season and have taken to continental football like a duck to water.
It's a very new test. We've not seen anything really like this except for the sort of pre-Champions League thing that we had last year with Sydney. Come out, they've adapted to new tactics, and to get that thumping win here, it's a big statement.
3 wins from 3 against Bamka Toon, Kaya Loilo, and College of Asian Scholars. 9 goals scored and just 1 conceded.
You look at City, and I think all the focus has been on Holly McNamara's return and how many goals City have just been putting in, which has been absolutely phenomenal. But I think for me, it's the backline that's really stood out.
The group stage took place in centralised locations, cities being in Thailand, but their performances meant they got the opportunity to host the quarter-final in Melbourne.
I remember going to games like that when I was a child, and you see these people who've put in their heart and soul to be there, who've come from other countries, and to see your team actually win that and have the opportunity to win that on home soil is just spectacular.
This would be the first time a women's club continental match took place on Australian soil, after Sydney FC played all their games in Uzbekistan. An historic moment for Melbourne City and women's football in Australia.
Anyone who was in the stands that day, I'm sure they've taken that, they remember that, and it's one of those things that just stays with you, especially now if Melbourne do make it to the final, which let's hope. I believe that they can, but if they do make it to the final, you're going to be I was a small part of that, and I feel that will always stay with you.
It was an opportunity they didn't pass up too, running out 3-0 winners against Taichung Blue Whale. The semi-finals await City now, facing none other than Incheon Red Angels, a team that knocked Sydney FC out of the competition in 2023. No doubt this is their hardest task yet, but the way they're playing, it'll take something special to stop them.
Most of the players here haven't played in games like that before. A lot of players, again, while City has a larger number of internationals, a lot of them haven't played in that kind of travelling sort of system.
It's a massive chance to show where the domestic game is at.
I think Melbourne City's given us a really good example and indicator that we're actually really, really strong here.
Once upon a time, the old W League was able to attract some of the world's best players, even if it was only on a guest contract. But the advancement of women's football around the globe has seen a slow drop-off in quality of our domestic league. But it's forced clubs to adapt in the way they build their squads. Now with a focus on younger talent, and City over the last few years have been one of the best in managing this.
They had a reasonable amount of turnover between last season and this season. Obviously, Daniela Galic, who was the best player last season, now gone off to Netherlands. Caitlin Torby left mid-season. They lost their coach as well, Dara Vijicic, obviously doing really well with Brighton as well. Somehow, Melbourne have been that's okay. We will bring in good players and we will make this work.
Going through a period of heavy turnover after their premiership winning season, to come into this season with new players, a new manager, and perform at the level that they've been able to is something quite special.
Marina Speckmeyer from Wellington was a wonderful signing. Alexia Postolakis, obviously from Western Sydney, again, someone who's really young. They're players who were good, but you're not necessarily your marquee players, and they've gone on and they've just integrated so well into that system, and I think it really is a testament to how they're coached.
While they haven't needed to balance large amounts of travel with the domestic campaign, the ability to be successful against a large variety of teams is no easy feat.
Champions League in general has always been my favourite competition into club football, because you get to see so many teams with completely different styles play against each other.
A competition like this places a whole new challenge to Australian clubs they seldom faced in the past. Countries in Asia, particularly in the East, are starting to professionalise their competitions, meaning City are facing sides more so in this stage of the competition that train day in day out. Success in this competition shouldn't be understated. The Wanderers' run in the men's equivalent in 2014 was rightly celebrated after they overcame a number of teams with a vast amount of wealth compared to them. City may not be in the same boat entirely, but toppling Asia's best teams as a semi-pro side would be a massive achievement for Australian football. City achieving silverware in the Champions League is by no means a foregone conclusion, but the way they've played this season deserves to be turning heads.
They've had scares, they've been down until the 70th minute of the game, and you think, oh my god, it's going to be their first loss, and then out of nowhere they've come back.
They've been unbelievable, virtually unstoppable, and a great representation for our domestic game. And as they continue their journey through Asia, it deserves the attention of all football fans in the country.